But it's not just misogyny from white men. It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men, things we've all been talking about, who do not want a woman leading them. Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman.
You're tuned in to Kaz TV.
If you're new to this channel, welcome. Make sure to like, leave a comment, and share with somebody you think needs to see this if you find any of this valuable. Let's go back to the video. What's going on, everybody? For anyone who's been living under a rock, Donald Trump was elected president of the United States. Now, this is probably the craziest comeback in US political history, at least in recent history. Whether you like Trump or don't like Trump, just imagine this scenario. You've got a character who has got to win this election, otherwise they go to jail for claims that at least half the country believes are bogus claims. There are 2 assassination attempts on this person, and the mainstream media is completely against this guy, and then somehow still wins. That would be the biggest underdog story in Hollywood. Everyone would be inspired by that. So whether you're for Trump or against Trump, that's just pretty incredible. A lot of people on social media are saying things like, the only reason he won is because people don't want a black woman as president. Okay? And the media is saying things like this.
Well, Rev, let's talk about, you talked about gender and race. Let's talk about race. Donald Trump fared very well with Hispanic voters, especially Hispanic men. The numbers are coming in still a little early, but I think he did better with black men than was expected in the past. What do you think pushed that, especially with the Hispanic voters going for Donald Trump as much as they did? Because that made a big difference.
I think that a lot of it was he was able to sell a lot of Hispanic voters that immigration was a threat to them, that some of the people coming across the border was a threat to them. I think that we've got to be honest, among Hispanic men and black men, there's a lot of misogyny. And I think that we've got to deal with the reality that he appealed to this whole false macho thing that some black men and some Latino men went for. I think that we cannot sit around just bedwetting. We've got to deal with the reality, and we've got to deal with the situation as it is in our own communities.
So basically right here, we'll continue playing this, but he is starting out by saying the main reason I think black men and Latino men didn't vote for her is because of misogyny. Not because of maybe they agree with some of the policies, maybe they have the same reasons for voting for him that white women had for voting for him, or any other groups had for voting for him, or Asian people had for voting for him. No, for black men and Hispanic men, it's because they're sexist.
There's misogyny. But it's not just misogyny from white men. It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men, things we've all been talking about, who do not want a woman leading them. Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman.
A lot of people are saying, if you didn't vote for Kamala, the reason you didn't vote for her is because she's black and she's a woman. But then they forget, 2019, she had 5% support from black women. 5% of black women that were on the left supported her. Most of them supported Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, and Elizabeth Warren. So when the left, black women in particular, don't support her when they have other options, it's, well, we had better options, we thought this would be a better outcome, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to America as a whole voting in this election, no, their reason has to be because they were sexist, because they don't like black women. It can't be because, well, they probably just didn't like what Joe Biden was doing. Maybe they didn't like how things were run. Now, maybe they didn't like some of the policies she ran on. No, it's because she's a black woman. And that's not fair. You can't do that. If that's the case, then the Democrats didn't vote for her because she was a black woman. Other than the 5% of black women on the left that supported her when she was running for president in 2019 and had to drop out because she had so little support from the left, they also were not supporting her because she's a black woman. If we're going to have that standard, that if it's a black woman and you don't support her, it has to be because she's a black woman, not because of any policies, not because of the way she carries herself and presents herself. It has to be because she's a black woman. I think that's a weak argument, and we've got to do better than that. Even if you don't like Trump, you've got to come up with a better argument than that, which leads me to my next point, and they're going to talk about it right here. Check it out.
They didn't want to confront the past issues on the border. It took them too long to confront that. We talked about a transgender inmate ad that ran 30,000 times that the Democrats refused to respond to, despite the fact it was Donald Trump's own policy, because I guess some people in the campaign, and we talked about this before, thought it might be, maybe they were too woke to actually respond to a false ad, and maybe they were afraid that they would be attacked by their own base. There are so many questions for the Democrats to answer, but one of them, the one that's that I just saw that's going to be staring them in the face for some time if they don't do something about it, is that 45% of Hispanics voted for Donald Trump.
45.
That is George W. Bush. I remember when George W. Bush got 44% of the vote in 2004. It sent shockwaves. Yeah. This also, if you look at this, if you look at younger voters, you look at all these different, we've all been talking about a new Republican Party. There needs to be a new Republican Party. This morning, this is about as bleak as any time for Democrats since the so-called 1984 San Francisco Democrats. It's time for the Democrats to take a good, long, hard look at how this happened. And if they just say Trump bad, Democrats virtuous, they're going to keep losing, because this, again, is so widespread. This is not about just Donald Trump. This is about the Democratic Party and being radically disconnected from the rest of the country. Look at the map.
The mainstream media and the left seems just out of touch with what American voters, black, white, male, female, Hispanic, Asian, whatever, are feeling and thinking. And this is what people aren't taking into consideration. And if the Democrats and the mainstream media keep doing this, they're going to keep losing credibility. This is what's happening.
All the people in his administration who said he's a fascist, he wants to be a fascist, he talks like a fascist.
I don't care about that at all. They've been saying that about Trump for years. They've been saying that about Republican candidates for years. If you are at all center or center right, you are used to having your candidate of choice completely demonized, whether it's the F word, the R word, the misogynist word. They've been doing this for every Republican, and we no longer are listening to them.
And then after the election, they're surprised when the majority of America votes for him. And then they say, well, we said sexist, racist, anti-gay. He works for the KKK. I agree. We chanted that. And you voted for him. And people's minds are going to, well, if we said that and you voted for him, you must like that. No. People just don't believe what you're saying. They don't believe he is those things simply because you say it. And here's one of the reasons why. This isn't pro-Trump. This isn't pro-Kamala. This is just a fact. If you keep crying wolf with everybody, they stop believing you. If you keep saying everything is racist, you don't make that person look bad. You make the word racism watered down to mean just someone that disagrees with you. We've even got statistics to back this up. In every demographic, black, Asian, Latino, all of these groups, Trump, from the beginning of when he ran in 2016 to now, he has grown in his support from those groups when you look at the exit polls. One of the demographics he's gone down in from 2016 to now, white men. You may feel emotionally charged that, oh, this is the white men party. This is the party that attracts just these people. The truth of the matter is, the numbers are showing there is a trend that is attracting these groups and actually pushing away these groups, if you're looking at it historically. So they can look at the numbers and decide, hey, we want to keep pushing this rhetoric out, and maybe they'll believe us next time. Or they can adjust their strategy and say, you know what do the people actually think? What matters to them? Let's talk about that. So when we look back at Kamala's support in 2019, it wasn't there. The left didn't support her. So did they not support her because she's a black woman? Or did they choose, well, we've got better candidates. We think she's a little extreme. That's what people were saying when she was running in 2019. So is it the fact that, oh, America's not ready for a black female president? Or is it America doesn't want Kamala? And neither did the left. If they did, she would have been their presidential nominee in 2019, going into 2020. But she wasn't. So as much as they want to point at America and say sexist, racist, all these other things, the truth is they didn't support her either. Now here's the craziest trend that I'm seeing, okay? On TikTok, on YouTube, Instagram, there's a lot of women saying, well, we're gonna not be intimate with men because men voted against women's rights in this election. And it was men that turned the tide in this.
And there's a new movement sweeping America. Disappointed women are actually swearing off men.
There's no way I am letting any man near me for the next few years.
They're saying no to dating, no to marriage, no to sex.
Celibacy, at least to me, isn't that hard.
And no to having children.
Like so many other women in America who have been considering trying to get pregnant, I woke up today and said, nope. Not anymore.
This woman is actually shaving her head in protest. It's being called the 4B movement, and women are taking to social media declaring their allegiance.
The 4B movement was actually started by women in South Korea back in 2019 as part of their version of the Me Too movement. The number 4 refers to dating, marriage, sex, and children.
This movement's way more important now than ever.
26-year-old Alexa Vargas joined the movement 2 years ago and expects a surge of interest in the wake of the Trump victory.
So you, in 2022, swore off dating forever?
Not forever. We're not going to settle for low-value men that don't respect us anymore.
45% of women voted for Trump. Now, if we remove black women who 93% voted against Trump, it's the only demographic that was extremely heavy for Kamala. It moves closer to 50-50. Most of the women making these videos are white women. Guess who Trump won? White women. 53% voted for Trump. Now, here's another fun fact. 51% of married women voted for Trump. So most women who are married voted for Trump. So the single women who don't have a man are the ones saying, oh, well, we're gonna not be intimate with men the next 4 years to protest this election. Guess what? You don't have a man anyway. And here's the funny thing. Most people who believe that sex is for marriage and the nuclear family, most of those people lean towards Trump. So guess what? They're probably not doing anything with you anyway. The only people they're protesting are the people who voted for Harris. So people are just losing their minds left and right. But in reality, when you look at the numbers, it makes sense why she didn't win. So remember, the truth always cuts through the noise, whether it's social media, the media, or even a video like this. Make sure to look at the numbers. Let's find the truth together. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for checking out this video.